Mr. President. I would like to ask you whether you would be willing today to publicly condemn the publication online of the personal details of 4,000 foreign journalists on the Mirotvorec website. And seeing as that question is of a more personal nature, I'd like to ask you a more professional question too. How would you characterize your country's relationship with Russia now? You mentioned the wonderful victory by Jamala. And in that vote, Russian people and Ukrainian people voted very highly for each of their respective countries. But Mr. Putin has one red line, which is clear, is not to return Crimea to Ukrainian sovereignty. And given that, do you have any optimism that there can be any rapprochement while Mr. Putin is in power? Thank you.
Thank you.
Shall I answer in English? First of all, you are absolutely right. I am publicly condemned the publication of more than 4,000 journalists' names on the Mirotvorec site. Point number two. Unfortunately, I have an information that some of these journalists prepare the negative comments or negative article about Ukraine. And I kindly ask you, please don't do that. Because me as a president, I guarantee the security of these journalists in Ukraine. And we should develop the mechanism how the journalist can be on the occupied territory through the Ukrainian, which legally come to Ukraine and pass through the touch line. I instruct our law enforcement agency to defend the journalists' rights, including those who were mentioned in this publication. It seems to me yesterday I see the statement of the Minister of the Information Policy, which I fully share and satisfied. And look, publication on the independent internet site, the data, we have a very limited instrument to react, connecting to close this publication. But as a president of Ukraine, and I'm sure this is the position of Ukrainian government, we think that that was a very big mistake. And this is no anything who can be dangerous for the foreign journalist to be in Ukraine. At the same time, if you're talking about Russian journalists, some of them making criminal things. And that would be a special, separate investigation. If you attentively notice what we act in the defending the freedom of press, the government sent to the National Security and Defense Council the name of the journalist, including British one, including, by the way, from the BBC, which was appeared in the list. And my reaction will be quick. At the same moment, I changed the decision of National Security and Defense Council and remove the name of this journalist in the sanction list. And I received the special thanks from the British ambassador and from the BBC. I think that would be the type of the reaction. And the relationship with Russia, very simple. Russia is an aggressor. Russia make an illegal annexation and occupation of the Crimea by the Russian troops. And Russian forces make an aggression against my country on the east. Very simple. In violation of the international law, which was approved by the decision of the General Assembly of the United Nations, in violation of the bilateral and multilateral agreement, where Russia recognized the territorial integrity, sovereignty, and independence of Ukraine. And there is no any excuse for presence of Russian troops on my territory. Very simple. At the same time, we still hope that Russian people is not an enemy for us. And maybe that is an explanation of the voting in Eurovision.